You know what time it is. Let's get started.
How do you use doubles practically in playing?
My approach to double strokes has always been to just kind of try to get them into your playing by just using them whenever you can. Not necessarily by overplaying, that's not what I mean. But for example, if you're practicing and you're playing like rock beat kind of stuff, try to incorporate double strokes by, for example, playing ghost notes on the snare. There's a lot of gaps between like the standard rock beat that you could fill with double strokes on the snare, like ghost note kind of stuff. And also, if you're doing fills, try to use some different rudiments like paradiddles and pretty much any rudiment. Like most of the rudiments actually are based on combinations. It's combinations of single strokes, double strokes, and flams. So there's a lot of rudiments that use double strokes. So try to get some of those into your playing. Try to orchestrate them around in different spots. And I'm not necessarily the guy who uses double strokes instead of singles for faster kind of fills. For example, when you do this fill, you play four strokes per drum, like daga 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 daga, that kind of fill. Some guys try to incorporate double strokes there at faster tempos. I really don't because I want the power from single strokes. So not necessarily using double strokes for that kind of stuff. I don't see them as a replacement for single strokes at faster tempos. It's just they're different kind of sound, a different texture. They help you switch things around a bit and avoid. Basically, the main thing that double strokes does actually is to stop you from having to cross all the time. You can be more free. You can use this one hand doing stuff like that and keep the left hand on the playing ghost notes on the snare. So those are a few examples of how I like to use ghost notes. But as I said and as you can hear, the general approach is just kind of to try to get them into your style, into your playing, just in a natural way. So not necessarily so forced, but try some different rudiments and see what you can come up with.
Where did you go to learn to read notes and stuff? And what is your practice routine to get your fills and chops to flow like that?
I learned to read notation and stuff from playing saxophone before I started with drums. So that's just getting saxophone lessons and stuff at the local music school. Obviously, there you need to learn notation. You need to learn all that kind of stuff to be able to play. Since saxophone is a pitched instrument, it's a little different from drums, so you kind of need sheet music to learn new stuff in the beginning at least. So that's where I learned to read sheet music and notation, time signatures, all of that, subdivisions, all of that comes with it. So that was really beneficial to me when I started learning drums because I already had all that stuff in the bag. But when it comes to my practice routine, I talked a little bit about this in the first Q&A video, so you can go check that out. With that side, yeah, that side. You can go check that out if you want to, the first Q&A video. But to recap, my general practice routine is to kind of just practice for stuff that I need to do. Like if I need to put up if I want to put up a video where I try to special kind of fill, I'll practice a fill for that. If I'm learning a song, I'll practice the fills for that. If I'm recording something, trying to come up with a fill for a song I'm recording, I'll practice fills and stuff to try to fit something that works there. You see, my general approach is kind of to practice on things that I need in order to do my job, basically. Since drumming is my living, playing drums is my living, I need to stay on my toes and need to come up with stuff for that. There's really not much time in general to practice outside of work, if that makes sense. But I talked more about this in the first video, so go check that out if you want a more proper answer.
Which specific kind of wood is your snare made of?
The snare I use is a 13x7 maple snare made by King Drums. And so standard maple, nothing crazy going on there. It's a 10 ply, I believe, and I just really love it. It cracks, it hits hard, it's really loud, and 13x7 is probably my favorite snare drum size. But to answer your question, maple.
Hey Siros, in regards to your endorsement, did they approach you or did you approach them? I've been trying to see if I can hook something up with Meinl or Evans, and I've had no luck yet. Any tips? This is probably an answer for one of your YouTube videos, but I thought I'd ask anyway. How did you get your endorsement with Meinl? Did you contact them or did they contact you? And what are Meinl looking for with endorsements? How did you get your name out there enough to get drum endorsements?
All right, so this is the big question, right? Endorsements. A lot of you guys ask about it, as not only me, but other drummers that are endorsed about endorsements, like how do they work, who contacts who, what's in it for me, what's in it for them, all of that kind of stuff. And I want to touch base on this a little bit briefly. I can probably go more into depth with this in a proper video at some point. But I can talk a little bit about how it works. Basically, to answer the question about who contacted who in terms of the Meinl endorsement, it was basically this story will kind of tie everything together with how endorsements work. Basically, I've been a really big fan of Meinl pretty much since I started playing drums, at least for a very long time now. Since I started doing social media, I've always wanted like I enjoy talking about things that I like. If there's gear I enjoy, I'll make a review of it, that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily to kiss ass, like unfortunately some people do. They just kind of put out videos to like, hey, notice me, endorse me, give me free stuff. That's not what it's about. It's about me just kind of making the content I want, and if I enjoy the gear, I'll make reviews, I'll talk about them. If there's something I don't really enjoy, I'll just kind of ignore it, if that makes sense. So with the story of Meinl, is basically I've been making videos, I've been tagging them, I've been kind of just spreading the word about Meinl for a long time, just being an ambassador for the brand, not because there was anything in it for me, just because I wanted to. And eventually they discovered me. They discovered my the stack video I made on YouTube a couple of years, 1 or 2 years back now, which was like the biggest video I ever made up to this day. They discovered that, and Norbert, the European rep, he got in touch with me and basically asked a couple of questions like, hey, why I made the video, was I paid by anyone, like was there a local music store sponsoring me or anything like that, just kind of checking a bit. And we had some contact, and he actually sent me a thank you gift. He sent me a cymbal, which is right up here above my head, signed by all the artists from the Meinl 2015 festival, which was really cool of them to actually send me that. But that was the first contact, and then it took probably almost a year before we had any sort of contact again. And I think that was just him kind of messaging me, just kind of to check where I'm at, because obviously they were somewhat interested in me already back then, but I wasn't really ready for an endorsement kind of thing then. So Meinl contacted me again and just kind of checked like what am I doing? Do I make a living from playing drums? Just kind of what's going on in my life. And then I took the moment there. So this is where I in a way contacted them as well. But they reached out, but I took that opportunity to say kind of my ambitions. I love the brand, everything about it. I really want to cooperate with them in some way. Not necessarily like an official artist, or I don't care about discounts. I don't care about free stuff. Not anything about that. I just wanted to basically I said I just want to help you guys, is what I said to the guys at Meinl. Like, can I make video reviews or whatever, like something a little more official? I basically just want to help. And they said, sure, let's try to do something like that in the future. And then a couple of months later, that evolved into me demoing the stack videos, which I'm still working on. You'll see those pretty soon, hopefully. So you see that's what I mean. It was kind of a mutual thing, and that's very important for endorsements in general. But all of that, by the way, actually led to the official endorsement later. But what I'm trying to say is it's a very mutual thing. If you want to endorse a brand, and that's what it's about, you endorsing them. It's not about them endorsing you. Like Meinl or any brand, they don't give you stuff just to help you out. It's like I said, it's a business deal. You have to be able to give something to them. You have to be able to bring in new people that are exposed to their gear. People actually, in the end, it's about people buying their stuff. In the end, you as an ambassador for their brand are supposed to bring in people that will be interested, spark an interest for that brand so that they gain profit, and in return they can, if the deal is like that, they can send you free stuff or discounted stuff or whatever. So that's very important to realize. It's not about you. It's really about the brand. It's about you wanting to cooperate with the brand. So don't go around looking for endorsement just to get free stuff. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And realize you have to be able to bring something to the table. If you don't have a strong answer for what you can bring to the brand, it's probably not the right time to try to associate with them. You really want to have a solid idea of who you are and what you can bring and to them. And that brings me to like what Meinl and brands in general are looking for, and that right now a very big part of that is just social media. Guys like me and other drummers who are very active on social media and visible and have big followings, that's kind of the main thing right now. So if you really want to get in touch and you want to get an endorsement maybe later down the road with one of your favorite brands, social media is the way to go. Like, really get started on social media, make a name for yourself, and I wish you all the best, and hopefully you'll be able to connect with them and maybe sign an endorsement deal sometime in the future. But just know that it's about the brand, it's about the corporation, it's not about you. So that's a little short, well, I guess not so short, talk about endorsements. Hope that makes sense, and I hope that answers your questions a bit. But maybe I'll make a more proper video about this sometime in the future, get a little more in depth, but that's it for now.
What is your approach to developing the non-dominant hand?
It's kind of the same approach as with the double strokes that I was talking about earlier in the video, which is that I just really try to get it into my playing. I try not to leave it out. Like in the beginning, when you're playing, when you kind of just getting started with drums, to say that you're a right-handed drummer and your left hand is really weak and kind of, it doesn't really do what you want it to. The main thing a lot of people do then is to just kind of not use it that much, because it's hard. It's hard to get it in. It makes you play kind of sloppy, so you want to play your best and you want to just leave the left hand out as much as possible. But if you want to get better, you're not supposed to play stuff you already know. You're supposed to push yourself and try to play the things that you can't in order to enable you to do them, basically. And that goes with non-dominant hands and muscles in general as well. So my approach to developing the non-dominant hand, which is my case, is my left hand, is to just use it a lot. Really, that's all there's to it. Play a lot of ghost notes with your left hand. Try to do things backwards, like try to lead fills with your left and end on crashes with your left hand. Try to open up a bit. Basically, don't rely too much on your dominant hand. Force yourself out of your comfort zone and just try to, like I said, just try to use it as much as you can. And with time, it will develop and it will be probably never quite as strong as your dominant hand for obvious reasons, but at least pretty close. So just try to use it.
Have you ever thought about studying drums? Do you think that studying may take some of the fun and creativity away from music?
I have thought about studying drums, but that was pretty much before I really got started with the social media thing and my career in general. Because now it's like I feel if I would go to study music now, that would kind of ruin my momentum, if that makes sense. And I don't really feel necessarily like I need it. I mean, obviously, a part of me would want to study music and study drums in general, because it will be a great way to develop. I would probably get a lot better at the drums and the music in general by doing that. But at the same time, it's like for me, I don't know if the sacrifice is worth it. If that makes sense, because doing that, I would be away from everything I do now. I'd be away from, not necessarily away, but it would be harder for me to keep up with social media, to do gigs, to do all of this if I'm busy studying. Like I have hard enough time to manage everything I'm doing right now. So it would just be a different lifestyle that I'm not necessarily sure I want for me right now. Maybe sometime later down the road, but honestly, I doubt it. I think I'm kind of on the path I want to be on right now, so it's not really important for me right now. It's not really at the top of the priority list right now for me to go study music. But whether or not it would take away the fun and creativity from music, not necessarily. I actually think it would open up more doors. It would open up not just with career options and people in general, but even more so with like doors in your head. It would open up different options, things you can play, you'll learn, you'll be more fluent. It's like learning a language, the more you know, the easier it is to kind of get your word out. So it's just a matter of keeping a good routine to it. You don't want to make it feel like homework, and that's why I think some people end up in a route like that, where studying music makes it feel like a homework and it makes it feel like a little tedious. Just make sure you keep the fun in it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever with studying music. It's actually just a major benefit. So I guess that's my thoughts on it.
I have another question as well. I'm currently looking to invest into China. I've considered a few, not all are Meinl, the Sabian AA Holy China, Paiste's Rude Series China, and the Meinl Bison's Dark China. I really like the sound of the Dark China, but I'm looking for something with a little more cut, like the Holy China, but also has that dark tone. I also like what I've heard about the durability of Paiste, but it has too much clang for my taste. Any suggestions? I'd still go with the Dark China anyway, but maybe you know of a better choice out there, and I've never owned a China before, so I don't know much about durability.
The Bison's Dark China is a really good choice, actually, for what you're looking for. The only thing maybe that you would not find in that compared to some other Chinas is with durability, but it depends on how you play it, because those can last forever if you play them well. But like if you're a really hard hitter and you don't think your technique is really that on point, there are some other Chinas, and I'm a Meinl guy, so I'll give you some Meinl options. I don't know many China options with other brands, so. For some other Meinl options that are more durable but don't really have that sound is, for example, the one that I've been using a lot is the 18-inch Classics Custom Trash China. It's a lot more, it's really durable. Like you can hit the hell out of it and it's gonna last. But the sound is a little different. It really cuts nicely. It's just not as complex, I guess. It's a little more straightforward. It's like really trashy, really hits you hard. It's a little more clangy, a little harder sound. While their Bison's Dark China is a little more complex, a little more like well-rounded, I guess, in a way. It has a little more character to it. So it kind of depends on what you like, but look into the Classics Custom Trash China. Maybe that's something for you. If you feel like you're a hard hitter, maybe that would be the better choice. If you feel like you can manage your playing a little bit better, the Bison's Dark China, in my opinion, would probably be the better sound, but it's a handmade cymbal and it's a little bit thinner, so with durability, it might not last quite as long if you hit hard. So just keep that stuff in mind. In general, with the China, it's like, China, depending on what style of music you play, you tend to hit them a lot, and you tend to hit them pretty hard. But try to be a little reserved. Like, you don't need to bash it all the time. That's kind of the general thing I've learned about Chinas is you don't need to hit it. You don't need to hit it as hard as you can to get the full sound of it. So just kind of be wary when you play them, and they will last and they will sound great. But just keep that stuff in mind. Alright, so that will wrap it up for today's Q&A video. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you got your questions answered. If you have more questions you'd like me to answer, please post them in the comments below. I will get to them as fast as I can. I try to make one of these videos like once every week, but so it depends on how much I have going on. Speaking of how much I have going on, I actually have a newsletter. I don't know if you guys know that on my website. You can just add your email address, nothing more, and you're automatically signed up for my newsletter, which I will send out maybe once a month or something like that. It really depends. Basically there I just kind of give you guys a rundown of what's going on, what's happened recently, and what's in store. So like kind of some behind the scenes kind of stuff, I guess, what I'm planning for future videos and kind of what's happening a little later down the road. So if you guys want to hear more about that kind of stuff and get a little better insight into what's going on in my life, please do sign up for the newsletter. But that's it for today, guys. So I will see you around, and take care.